Hi, my family. My name is Trey, and this is my YouTube and Odyssey show. Trey's timeless 15 minutes of explain. And today, my talk is called Fear is a Switch to Turn Off Creation. Fear is the luck and laughter the key to your heart. So it's time to awaken. Fear is a switch to turn off creation. Of course, we all know, or many of us remember, the common acronym of fear, false evidence appearing real. But ever since the Brotherhood of the Snake in the days of Atlantis, of course, this has become more and more the guiding, and unfortunately, in the year 2020, a ruling prevalence. So, of course, since the Council of Nicaea, as I've said, in the year 325, the Dracos, and then consequently the conquistadores have instilled the guilt and of course, all of the different sects, coming through the Jesuits in particularly, have infiltrated, inserted their guilt and obedience to the dark side through all forms of black magic, ritual, torture, or abuse. And yes, the 2020 narrative we all saw breaking forth in the year 2020, I would say, I call that the second coming of the fallen, the second coming of the devil. So, you have to understand, it's not a joke to say that we're hardwired to fear as our base template from birth. Most of us, through the allopathic system, through our parents, through the sugar addiction, all the chemicals and hydrogenated oils in the diet, and of course the Jehovah Death Seals and those other death seals. We still have to work on that. So, for me, using quality organic cannabis, sun grown or greenhouse grown cannabis, can really temporarily alleviate this. For others, alcohol, beer, liquor, which can lead to heavy consequences when these spirits possess them. With me, the heavy consequence might be perhaps that others perceive the confidence seems to be derived from the plant rather than my inner self, or exaggerating my confidence. But sometimes, if you don't fake it till you make it, you are gonna make shit. Again, and I think that's because we're hardwired to fear, so we have to forgive ourselves if we want to, relax. And when I first got to this town, I think it was the second or third year I was here. I went downtown to the Santa Cruz Halloween before some Mexican gangsters from Watsonville actually stabbed some people that owed them money in the middle of the crowd a few years later. Then they put in massive strobe lights and fenced off most of the middle of it, and actually about 50 police officers that first year. It dwindled down, but It's basically been an adult costume contest after dark in Santa Cruz Halloween since on Pacific Avenue there. But the first year I went, this really is a good example of the title of this video. So I was having a real good time. You know, this dude came out with a golf cart with two stripper poles on top and two strippers dancing and playing Casey and the Sunshine Band, and I was dancing and partying, and so somebody else was playing some dance music, and I started dancing, and this train of people formed behind me. I guess I was dancing so well. I was 27 and dancing so well, and it was fun. It was cool. It was a lot of people, and this whole train of people dancing behind me. But then the fear got in me. And the thought was, well, who is this holding on to me? I don't know. Some stranger's holding on to me. So I looked back. It was a really attractive, hot young woman and a bunch of different hot young women, mostly. And they let go of me the woman let go of me right then. And I thought to myself, well, if I hadn't been afraid, I would still be leading a train of hot women dancing around freely. And if those gangsters hadn't shot some people in that crowd, maybe it would still be like that. So you have to realize that when you obey these voices of fear, I'm not even going to go into the dark side, that it's alien manipulation, whatever the source is irrelevant to this talk, okay? Well, it's not irrelevant, but it's not the point. It's always, whether it's that or you're an Illuminati or you watch mainstream TV, it's always outsourcing. And this thought that you need the Dark Lord as parents. This is something it's really hard to fight in people that are unaware, willfully ignorant is what we call this. They feel they need to obey the voice of fear. It's very sad. And this is how the New Age was hijacked to a great degree, not just because Madame Blavatsky and her channeling was setting forth the beginning phases of it, 130 years ago. Was because they, as we've all said many times, they inflicted this idea that we made up all the evil, and that to dwell on that, is not righteous. And they basically, most people in most of these New Age cults will refuse to do their shadow work because they think meditating or obeyance or focusing on the good is all that matters or all they have to do. It's quite sad. It's an extreme hijack. It's extremely obvious. There's been a few people I've convinced of the existence of reptilians, even a lesbian who, after that happened, their handlers won't let them interact with me if possible after that. One of them being this person I used to help out because it's extremely intimidating to these, people with more Draco in their blood, or these people that are control freaks, for these friends or acquaintances of mine to even admit that the reptilians are there. So fear is really, that's how powerful the infliction of fear into the culture has, the creator can and does not operate in fear. No, nothing really happens when people are afraid. Either that or the creations will be weakened. But the demiurge and perhaps Yahweh, the Quippaloth for sure, they're made out of fear. Okay? And, fear is a contagious virus when you think about it, or cancer that hijacks and can kill the host. And it ain't going. It's not going away. So you have to learn to control your fear, or that's it, man. It's going to control you, and then you're not going to be able to form that community or do what you need to do. If and when in those moments arise that you allow it to control you. This is why ganja or cannabis can be a great help. But again, if you allow the cannabis. If you think cannabis can do it all for you, even though for 3 hours it can convince you that you've trumped your fears, that you've transcended them by thinking, or that through your creativity or relaxation, you've gotten rid of it, but it was the cannabis. So, for example, like starting this channel, using ritualistically using cannabis to work on this channel is not evil, um, nearly as much as if I just got high and thought that that was going to help, do it all for me. That telling people on the street, because if you can put cannabis into some kind of work that allows you to work on your shadow or heal yourself or heal others, that's a completely different situation than thinking that simply because you're high, that's going to be enough. It never is. It's a surrogate obstacle when you do that. So you must do the shadow work. It's essential to remove the fear. For example, speaking of cannabis, I was going to see Lee Scratch Perry at the Catalyst nightclub, and I took the bus up, and guess I didn't have wheels at the time. I noticed when I got off the bus, I didn't have my wallet. Naturally, a person in this plasticated society with your plastic ID is who you are. The 2 weeks, 3 weeks period of getting another ID, your credit cards. Naturally, most people were really upset with this occurrence. But studying Buddhism for 3 years, I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to see Lee Perry tonight. I'm not going to let this bother me. So I took some cannabis. Then I actually hitchhiked back downtown. Um, I got to the bus station, and the security guard said, "Well, it's after hours. I can't give your stuff back." But he went and did it, and he found it and gave me my wallet back anyway. So I had my wallet, and I went to see the show, and I had a good time because I didn't allow the fear to turn off my connection to creation at that point. I knew it would have ruined my night if I became afraid or dwelled on losing the wallet or being afraid of it. So when you think about it, really, creation is fearless, which may make it reckless at times. But for the most part, creation is fearless and respectful. And fear, when it serves you to better your life or to do something more, the fear of God is the beginning of the wisdom, beginning of your wisdom. That's cliche can be used to. You can use your fears again to, if you transcend them or look behind them, to become a better person. So fear can be a great tool, but when you obey it, it just turns off creation right away. Because creation is not afraid; it's allowing. And creative ideas, inspirations, and fear for existential survival, for example, creates blocks. You know, like actually losing my a part of my U-lock inspired me to make this video because I thought, how am I going to think of an idea when I'm worried about it and I don't have it, and I'm not secure, my bicycle's not secure. So I got to the point where I'm like, well, I just have to trust that it'll be okay, and if it's not, it's okay too. And I'm more devoted to the work of healing myself and others than to allow the fear to dominate me at that point. So when you can eradicate or lessen this fear's ability to control you, then you can remain creative, remain open-minded, remain faithful in the real, remain faithful in the real Christ, yourself, within yourself. When you can learn to not let survival screw you over all the time by this fear-based control, then you free your mind, you get your powers back, some of your divine, multidimensional powers back. It's so exciting, you know. I remember when David Rodriguez said that they were going to try to rent the boardwalk for New Year's 2021. And the people said that owned the boardwalk said that they would do it, but that it would they didn't want to ruin their relationship with the city or some of the other people, probably the Rothschilds, right? So they didn't want to ruin their relationship with those in charge, their reputation. So this is a grand example of how fear can prevent something great if it's allowed to rule. If we're made really in the likeness or image of God, there will be no fear or only fear there to educate us to do more respectful, wise moves. Spiritual bypassing and triggering words is really a refusal to listen because of fear. If you enjoyed this comment, click subscribe and hit the notification bell for more. That'll probably do a lot more to see more. If you want to type in my name and create a great one, I got another page of notes for you.